What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Constant Sports. I'm your host, Constance. Now, it's been a couple weeks, but I'm back. Had to do some shifting around, some moving. Um, so let's get into the top 25. Um, Obviously, there was a lot that didn't happen this past couple weeks. Caitlin Clark broke the all-time scoring record from Kelsey Plum. Brittany Griner had her jersey and number go up in the Raptors at Baylor. Uh, South Carolina has broken the record for most consecutive wins. Uh, it's it's been craziness for women's basketball. Sabrina Ionescu going up against Steph Curry in the 3-point contest at the NBA All Star game. She did amazing. She showed out. Um, it's just been a really good couple weeks for women's basketball. And these rankings, there's a lot of teams that pretty much stay where they're at. Like the top six are exactly the same, right? Number one, South Carolina. Come on now. Number two, obviously, still Ohio State, which I really, really like their ranking. I 100% agree with where they are in the rankings. Stanford is sitting at number three. Iowa is at number four. Texas is number five, and NC State is number six. Um, NC State has they have some. I can say they're definitely gonna stay. Probably like the sixth position. They could possibly go up if any one of those top five teams loses a game. But the rest of their slate is North Carolina, who's unranked, but yet they are still dangerous. Duke, unranked as well, but still can be dangerous. And then they play Syracuse. They play Syracuse and then Wake Forest. So they have the potential to possibly stay a top. They could possibly be a top five team by the end of this season. Like I said, unless some teams in the top five lose, which I don't really much see that happening. Looking at the top five, I say some of these teams could probably a win out. Obviously, a few of them still have a couple of battles to go. I think for Stanford, their biggest battle is probably going to be against Oregon State because Oregon State has came out this season and they have proved everyone wrong who's played up against them. All right, so sitting at number seven is USC. They came up three positions. So they're climbing their way back up. Uh, to me, I do think that the ranking is a little generous, but they're Showtime. Number eight is Virginia Tech, who has been playing very, very well. They've started to get their groove. They're starting to look a lot like the team that went far in last year's tournament down to the Final Four. Um, Number nine, Oregon State. We just talked about them. They're playing great basketball, very good basketball, and I am excited to see where they fall out at the end of the season. Uh, Looking at their schedule as well, I think that their toughest game is going to be the game up against Stanford. That'll definitely be a battle that I'm excited to see. So even if Oregon State loses to Stanford, it doesn't hurt them at all. It might drop them out of the top 10 to possibly number 11, but that's it. Number 10 team is Kansas State. They definitely hit some rough spots. They dropped three positions. They hit some rough spots. Obviously, you lose a player, the player comes back and forth, and it's a lot of everyone that they have to learn how to move. Um, Their last game they lost was against Iowa State, which to me, Iowa State is a huge sleeper, and I've been saying that. They're a huge sleeper, and if they make it into the tournament, people got to watch out for them big time. Anyone playing up against them and think that they're going to be an easy win, they're not. Yeah, they're kind of just like Oregon State. People were playing them like they were an easy win, and they lost to them. And Oregon State just kept beating people. Um, Sitting at the number 11 is Colorado. They dropped out of the top 10. They dropped three positions. They took they've taken a couple losses that they shouldn't have. Um, they lost to Utah, which to me is not up. It's just because they're ranked low means absolutely nothing. We all know who Utah is. I do believe that they will continue to creep their way back up into the standings like they currently are. So I don't think that one was that bad. But then they also lost to Oregon State, and but then they beat Oregon, lost to Oregon State, and then lost to Utah. So those back-to-back losses did hurt them. Um, and they were pretty close games. They lost to Utah by 1 point. Uh, they lost to Oregon State by 6. So there wasn't like blowouts. They were battling. They just couldn't get over those small mistakes that they were making. They're still a good team. Obviously, they're still going to make it deep into March. So we should just see. Number 12 team is UCLA. They dropped three positions. They've taken some They've taken a couple losses that they shouldn't have. Um, but yet again, they lost to Oregon State. Teams are playing them like they're playing them lackadaisical in the beginning, and then towards the end, they're realizing this team is good and we need to win this game. And they lost to Oregon State by 2 points. It was like those small details, and it was the last. Pretty sure the Oregon State game was a last minute shot, like with 1 second left. So the game could have went either way, but them getting that 3 pointer off of like 1.1 seconds left was insane. No one saw it coming, but UCLA shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. Um, so their next couple games, they play Utah and Colorado back to back, 4 days apart from each other. So UCLA gonna have to figure some stuff out because neither one of them teams gonna go away. Uh, Number 13 team is still LSU. They haven't moved in. They haven't moved in rankings. Obviously, they won their last. Won their last couple games, beating Alabama and Vanderbilt, um, and obviously they beat Florida, demolished them 106-66. They're playing Texas A&M tonight, so we should see how that goes. The rest of their season, obviously Texas A&M tonight. Then they go on to play Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia, and in the regular season with Kentucky. So if LSU wins out, they'll be in a very, very good position to take over that number. I think currently they're number 3 seed, possibly making it up to the number 2 seed, but we shall see. Indiana and UConn both stay respectfully in their spots at 14 and 15. Um, then we have Gonzaga is number 16. They came up one position. They're making their way up. They're continuing to stick around. I mean, they're 26-2. Obviously, their schedule is a lot different than everyone else above them, but they're battling, and they're winning their games. Syracuse came up two positions at number 17, and Utah came up 4 positions to number 18. Um, and like I said, Utah is a dangerous team. Anyone who plays them, you got to play them with everything you got, or you're going to be sorry. Number 19 team is Notre Dame. They've dropped 3 positions. Um, they've hit some rough spots, but I kind of see like they're a good team. They have they have great pieces there, but you're still lacking a lot of leadership. But this team is gonna make it to the dance, and they're gonna be a dangerous team going up against anyone. So I'm just saying, just because they dropped a few positions. They're sitting number 19. They are still a very good and dangerous team. Number 20 is Louisville. They dropped 2 positions. Louisville is doing good. Obviously, they're gonna run into teams that are more experienced than them, and that's okay. Um, but they're also a team that could steal a couple wins in March. Number 21 is Creighton. They dropped one position. Um, I feel like they're one of the sleeper teams. A lot of people are not thinking about Creighton that much, so I would like to see what they do. Number 22 is West Virginia. They came up a couple positions. They've been playing really hard, very good ball. I always like West Virginia because of their defense. To me, they are more of a defensive team. A few years ago, I didn't like them because of their defense, and it was intense. It was all up on you. It made you frustrating. It made it frustrating to watch. So I can only imagine what it felt like for the players to actually play against them. Number 23 team is still Oklahoma. They stay right at their position. They're just coasting along at this point. They're getting the wins that they can. Um, and we should see how they continue to progress the rest of the season. Baylor dropped three positions at number 24. We already know Baylor is they're hitting teams that have size, and we already know Baylor does not have size. So if they keep running to these teams that have size, they're gonna keep continuing to have these problems. Sitting at number 25 is Princeton, staying where they at 20-3. Princeton, Princeton is gonna make it to. They're gonna make it to the dance. They're gonna get their ticket, and they're gonna get a couple wins. They're gonna get a couple wins. I know some people be like, "Oh, they one of the first teams out." It was like Princeton's gonna. I think they're gonna get a couple wins, and I am here for it. Okay, it's it's gonna be great to see, and I can't wait. I can't wait. So there it is. That's the top 25 for week 16. Thank you guys for watching. Continue to like, comment, subscribe. Continue to support these ladies in playing this amazing game that we love. Peace, love, happiness.